So injury prevention just has to be so high up on people's priority list.
Muscle catabolism starts after 11 days of not stimulating the muscle.
Wow.
So 11 days of no resistance training whatsoever starts muscle catabolism.
Wow.
Pretty much, if you take away the reason from a central nervous system to keep the muscle, it will just burn it. Muscle is just defensive mechanism. The body pretty much protects itself from the resistance that you're creating with resistant training. And it doesn't only happen from the resistant pain training. It could be a calisthenics, which is your body weight. It could be resistant training with the weights. Now, they all have different cons and pros. But pretty much, as long as you're engaging the muscle and you're fatiguing the muscle, the central nervous system has an urge to keep it. You stop using it, it's gone.
Yep, that's right. Your body, we never lived in this world that we live in now where there's a caloric surplus. We have way more than enough calories. As we were evolving, it was the other way around. We were trying to be as efficient and economical as possible, save energy for lean times, because there's going to be lots of lean times. There's going to be lots of winters where we may or may not get as many calories as we need. And so we need to live off our body fat. And as humans, we're very, very good at living off our body fat. Fasting, like you mentioned earlier, we are excellent at doing things like fasting. And so, yeah, I think that's so important to consider. And I'm glad that you gave us kind of a reference range weight for your deadlift. Like if you at any point in your life, regardless of whether you're doing it now or not, were able to lift 650 pounds in a deadlift, I think that alone speaks to the X3 as far as resistance goes. I'm sure you're getting very, very, very heavy deadlifts with bands. Again, I think most people would think like, how are you able to get a band up to be that heavy to challenge Daniel? But absolutely, you can do that. These things are really, really strong and they pull hard.
Come and try it. That's what I would say. Like I would love to have people try it. If I could, I would just let everybody try it. I'll put the SS7 band. I'll double it up under the X3 platform, and if you lift it, I'll give you $100. Like that's actually what I used to do out on the strip in Las Vegas at the very beginning of the pandemic. I used to make people try to lift the SS7 band for the deadlift, and if they did make it, I would pay them $20. And if they didn't make it, the entry was $10. You know how you have in Las Vegas those competitions where they are hanging on the bar, and just if you can't hang past, I think 2 minutes, they'll give you $100. So I was doing pretty much the same thing with the S3.
That's hilarious. I love that response. Yeah. That's great. Now, one thing that you just mentioned, I think is also really interesting to point out. You mentioned doubling the band below the platform, which the X3 does come with a platform, which is great. But that makes this system so versatile. Like if I want to deadlift, my range of motion is going to be very, very low. I want it to get heavy very, very fast. So it gives you the ability to double the band underneath so that you get that hard, heavy pull for a really relatively kind of short range of motion started in a low position. Whereas if I'm doing something like an overhead press, not only can I use a lighter band, but I'm going to single it up. I'm not going to double it up in the same way. So it's a lot easier for me to engage the weight low, maybe in like a squatted position, then squat all the way up with the resistance and then push the bar overhead. So you've got both options there.
So certain exercises will be doubled up and certain exercises will be single. That's why it is important to watch the introduction videos or sign up for my X3 group. It's free to enter. Daniel Magyar X3 group. You sign into that group and all the exercises are recorded. I explain all the exercises, how to properly position the band under the platform, how to properly execute the exercise. And then I show it actually on the video how to perform it. So if you want to learn more about that training, don't hesitate, come in my group. We have a great community there. We pretty much talk on all different topics from nutrition to exercise.
Yeah, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that. I'm the type of person that likes to kind of do my own research and learn about certain things myself, which means if I go that route, I spend way more time doing the wrong thing and goofing things up and breaking things. And you're talking about a human body. Like this is where you really need to invest some time and even some money if needed in a good coach who can teach you how to do this the right way and get you, your feet on the ground running in the right direction rather than trying to goof this up yourself. You will be far less efficient. So I really appreciate that you offer that. I think that's a great thing. What kind of, you mentioned lots of different exercises. And I know how versatile the X3 is, but you must have like 2 or 3 like really favorite exercises. Do you have a few that you just absolutely love that you would not want to live without?
Chest press, rows, and deadlift.
I would for sure have rows and deadlift on a band system like that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, chest press is
That-
one of them too. I like them. I mean, I enjoy doing these exercises. Um, these are the three that I really look forward to. The ones that I completely hate are the front squats. I just want to die after. It's ridiculously cardio taxing. I mean, I'm about to spit my lungs out after the
yeah.
front squat. Like nobody talks to me after front squat. I'm just laying down on my back, trying to catch my breath. And the more muscle you have, the more oxygen blood flow requires to recover the muscle. So the more cardio taxing it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just takes me about a good 15 minutes to get back on my feet and make a phone call after a front squat.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I can definitely relate to that for sure. And that also speaks to the level of intensity you really truly need to get to for strength training to be very, very effective. You've mentioned out maxing it out. Like when you're using this band, having a nice and slow tempo, front squats, you might be breathing very heavily just because of the nature of it. You're using those big muscle groups, like you said, and bringing in a lot of oxygen. But some of these exercises, you may not even be breathing that much. You may be able to maintain nasal breathing, but you kind of get to this place of like you're shaking almost, and you really
Yep.
just can't move the weight any further. And then, like you said, you can work in different ranges of motion. Like if I'm failed at the end range of motion, maybe I can go to the mid range of motion and fail there, and then go to the outer end of the range of motion and fail there. So there's tons of different options, but that intensity is just so critical, isn't it?
Right. So often people ask me, what is the proper way to breathe with the H3? Like, let's say I inhale on the way when I'm rolling, right? And in the eccentric part, when I'm going the opposite way, I exhale. Um, well, you can do that only for a certain period of time. You can only do that until the fatigue really comes, and then you're just huffing and puffing for dear life. I tell people like, yeah, you'll be able to inhale in this part and exhale in that part. It's fine until the real fatigue comes. And when the real fatigue comes, you're just trying to stay calm and you're trying to push as far as possible. Now, the biggest thing is to me, writing down your performance, because each time you write down your performance, the next workout, you're trying to beat your previous performance. That's pretty much right here is the golden age to progress. You want to build muscle, you want to get bigger. There's different debates about time and attention, slow reps versus fast reps, explosive, etc., etc. Long story short, the golden age of the growth is progressive overload. You do more than you did before, the body will respond with the growth. So pretty much if you keep introducing your body to the same stress over and over and over, you will not progress. You're going to stay the same for a long time. But if you start increasing the stress, the body will follow and will start building more muscle.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I love the way you explain that, and it's like that's the objective measure of what most people's goal are. Do you want to be stronger? Then strength can be measured, and we want to record that. How much time did it take you to complete a set on which band is really, really important. And if that's not going up, then you're doing something wrong. You might not be getting enough protein. You might not be taking enough time between workouts and getting enough recovery. Like all of that is so important.